Hi guys, so basically what we're doing today is a really fairly interesting class on composite function. And then as you guys can see, this is the composite function worksheet. So I'm just going to go through the problems. This way you guys can understand how to do this kind of problem. So if you see for question 1 to 9, we're given three functions f of x, g of x, and h of x. And then by using those three, we're going to try to compute the following. And the direction is pretty easy. Show all the work, it must be really neat, and answer must be circle or hashtag if you want to. So let's go right to it. Oh, I have a white selected. Let's go with blue. Okay, so first thing first. Notice that I have two functions, okay, within one another, each other. So I have a number inside a g function. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to substitute the number -3, oh that's really thick, into the g function. And if you guys remember, g function is right here. G function is simply 3x. So the inside part will basically be -3, which will give me -9. So now I can do again the substitution, -9 into the f function. Okay, so again, like I said, that will now be the inside, which is -9. Now what I get? Well, f function is right here, and therefore I can just simply copy down the format but change x into -9, and then I get -18 minus 1, which I will have -19. So I'm going to box that or hashtag. Okay, number 2 is fairly easy as well. And then, by the way, feel free to pause at any time if you need to pause. If you don't understand something, feel free to do that. Okay. Number 2, I have 7 inside the h function. So simply, I'm going to replace all the x with 7. So h of 7 will equal to 7 squared plus 1, which would be 49 plus 1, which would be 50. Okay, that means the whole thing inside is now 50. Okay. So f of 50, so 2 times 50 plus, oh, not plus, I forgot, minus 1, which would be 100 minus 1, so 99. Box answer or circle. Any questions? Of course not, because I can't hear you. JK. Okay, so number 3, we have this interesting notation. And what does notation simply mean? It's actually one function within another function. So that's actually pretty straightforward. Okay, now, since we're basically doing the same thing, I'm going to let you guys try really quick. Okay, now, as we can see, we have h inside. So that means I have to plug in 24 into h, which is that function. So let me write down 24 squared plus 1. Okay, and as you guys know, you guys probably have a calculator with you. If you don't, that's okay. 24 squared will be 576 plus 1, which is be 577. So that will be now the inside new function, essentially. That will be this component. Okay, now all I need to do is do the g part. So it's now g of 577. Okay, now since I don't remember, let me go take a look. G is just 3x. So I'm going to go back, and then 3 times 577, which I will get 1,731. And that will be my answer. Okay, now, number 4, basically the same thing. So go ahead and try really quick. Only thing that you need to worry about is now we're doing it in three different times. Now, let's try this. H of 2. So h of 2, I do remember the function. It's something squared plus 1, which I will get 5. Okay. Now I have the inside part. Now I can do g. G of 5 will simply just be 3 times 5, which will be 15. And then now I have that inside part. I can kind of replace that inside part with 15. So f of 15 will equal to 2 times 15 minus 1. And if you wonder where I get the function, all I do is simply go back to the top and then console basically everything like right here, those and that and that. Okay, so that's all I did. Okay, now let me actually finish computing. 2 times 15 minus 1, which will give me 29 as my final answer. Any question? Of course not. Again, because I can't hear you. Okay, so again, H, G, F, just different kind of order and then different kind of operation. So I'm going to go ahead and start with an inside. So 2 times 5 minus 1, which will be 9. Now that's the inside part right there. Now I'm going to do G of 9, which will give me 3 times 9 equals to 9, which will be 27. And then finally, I'm going to replace the middle part with 27. And now it's going to be H of 27. And I remember, if I remember correctly, it's like something squared plus 1. And if you don't remember, always go back and check. 27 squared will be 729 plus 1, which I'll have 730. Okay, so that's that. Let's try number 6. Number 6, we have a negative number, but still the same process. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to do it. So pause the movie really quick, or video, sorry. Okay, now let's do this. 86 first, square plus 1. So this one will still change the number into positive because the square. Now the inside is that. F of 37, 2 times 37 minus 1. So 74 minus 1, so 73. Now again, that would be the inside. G 73 equals to 3 times 73, which will be 219. Okay, so that's basically all 6 problem. Now we have 3 more questions. So Mr. Chu, why did you want to stop right here? Well, because if you notice, number 7, 8, and 9, they're no longer substituting a simple number in there. Now I'm actually putting in essentially a function inside another function. So I'm in the function. I'm kind of like going back to the original idea of composite functions. So I'm actually literally putting a function within a function. So let's take a look at number 7. Let me change the color. Let's go with purple. Okay. So if I'm putting a function within a function, well, let me write down what my original function. So this one we're gonna go outside in. I'm gonna go from outside. Okay, unlike previous questions, number 1 to 6, we do inside out. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna write down the original function, 2x minus 1. Okay, and since my inside x, it's no longer x, it's going to be replaced by x plus 1. Every single time I see x, I'm no longer going to write x. Okay, so notice this one and that will be identical. Now, 2, instead of x, I'm going to put, that's right, x plus 1 minus 1. So all I need to do is simply distribute the number, and my final product would be, would be this. Okay, let's try number 8. Let's try number 8. Number 8 is a very similar concept, just slightly simpler in inside substitution. So again, outside in. So I'm going to go for g of x. I'm going to simply write that down, which is 3x. Now I'm going to replace x with 3a. So g of 3a. Again, that's the same thing on the left hand side. Now every single time I see x, I'm going to put, that's right, 3a, which will give me 9a. That's my answer. Now let's try number 9. Number 9. So number 9 is very similar to number 7, just with a different function. So let's start outside in. I'm going to give you guys a minute to try this one. Okay, let's do this. And I know it's not a minute, but I figure you guys can kind of, pause the movie video. I don't know why I keep saying this is movie. I guess I'm just a really good teacher. I'm like acting. So now I'm going to replace x with x minus 2. So every single time I see x, I put, that's right, x minus 2 squared. Oh, not square, x minus 2. So the whole function will be x minus 2. And if you guys remember, this is a formula that I ask you guys to memorize. So a minus b squared, which is a squared minus 2ab to the right hand side plus b squared. Okay? Now let's go back and finish it up. So if I know that, I know this is going to be a, this is going to be b, so it will be x squared minus 2ab plus b squared, which is 4, okay, plus 1. So by memorizing it, actually, memorizing the formula is actually much easier to do the whole problem. So that will be my final answer. Okay, now let's move on. So number 10 and 11, I give you two brand new functions. So the same process, just, one inside another. So let's try this one. So I'm going to go from outside in, right? So I'm going to get the function outside really quick, f of x. And since it's right there, I'm kind of thinking just not write it down again and again. But I'm going to do an example, show you guys how to do this. So now I'm going to replace x with, that's right, g of x. So let's go back and see what's my g of x. So g of x is 2x squared minus 8. That means that's the whole thing. I'm going to plug it into my f. So I'm going to substitute x with that entirety. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite that really quick in terms of the function. So I'm going to do it like this. 2x squared minus 8. Okay, so every single time I see x, I'm going to try to change, not try, I'm going to change to x squared minus 8 plus 7. Okay, now again, distribute the negative 3, which I'll get negative 6x squared plus 24 plus 7, which I'll get negative 6x squared plus 31. Okay, so again, the same process. All I did is, like I highlighted, every single time I see x, no longer x. Okay, let's try number 11. Oh, this is golf. Oh, golf. Okay, golf, like I said before, it's simply one function inside another one, f inside of g. So let's go outside in again. Let me write down g. Actually, I don't remember what g is. Oh, right there. How convenient. It's like I planned it. Okay, now I have g. Now I'm going to replace, that's right, f in it. Oh, sorry, my phone buzzed. Okay, now I remember f is negative 3x plus 7. Okay, that means every single time I see x, I'm going to put negative 3x plus 7 squared minus 8. So the highlighted part is the only part that I'm going to replace. Okay, that's what f of x equal to. Now again, since it's a square, I'm going to, that's right, use the formula that I remember. So I'm going to leave the 2 outside just for now, because I'm going to multiply the inside. Well, I'm going to do the square of inside, which would be a squared, which is 9x squared, minus 2ab, which would be 3 times 7 times 2, which would be negative 42x. And then 7 squared, which would be 49. So that's what I have. Now I'm going to distribute the 2, which I will get 18x squared minus 84x plus 98 minus 8. So my final answer will be 18x squared minus 84x plus 90. Whoa, that was weird. 90. Okay, that'll be the answer. Okay, now let's move on to number 12. Number 12 is also a fairly easy, Number 12 is also a fairly easy function to deal with. So all we need to do essentially is just to use the information right here in this question to do the problem. So again, this is equals to f of g of 3. So instead of doing the outside in that I have been doing. Since I have the number inside, I'm going to do inside out. Okay, so I'm going to do inside out. So g of 3. So plug in 3, I will get 9. Okay, unless you don't remember how to do, I'm substituting 3 into that function. Okay, now I have 9, so now I can do f of 9, which equals to 3 times 9 minus 5. 3 times 9 equals 27 minus 5, which will give me 22, which is going to be my answer. Okay, let's try number 13. Number 13. So the same procedure. I'm going to let you guys try really quickly. Okay, so f of g of 10, the equivalent way to write this. Okay, so inside out, g of 10, which will be 10 minus 9, which will be 1. Okay, now I have 1, that means that's replaced. So f of 1 will then simply be negative 9 minus 9, which will be negative 18. Any questions? Of course not. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, or you can send me a message either on Schoology or on Google Classroom, or you can leave a comment or something. If you leave a comment, I will try to reply as soon as possible. Okay, let's try 14. So, actually, before we try 14, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 are all basically this type of question. So, pause the video for a second, try to do this problem by yourself, but otherwise we're just going to go through them. Okay, now let's do this. So number 14, the same problem. So I'm going to just go ahead and do it. G of 12, let me zoom in a little bit more. Here we go. G of 12, which will simply just be, that's right, 12 minus 8, which I get 4, which I'll get 2. So now that's f of 2. So it's going to be negative 4 times 2 plus 2. So don't try to cancel them out just because one is positive and one is negative. So negative 8 plus 2, which I'll get negative 6 as my final result. Okay. Number 15. Number 15. So again, inside out. So f of, oops, my bad, gotta change. F of negative 2 equals to negative 3 times negative 2 plus 4. Negative 3 and negative 2 will be 6 plus 4, which will give me, that's right, 10. And I'm going to substitute into g, 10. So 10 squared would just be, that's right, 100. Oh, sorry, that was the end. Okay, now 16. Inside out again. So f of 2. So I substitute 2 inside the function, which I will get negative 2 times 2 plus 1, which I will just simply, yes, negative 3. Now it's going to be g of negative 3, which means I will substitute negative 3 into the function, which I will have negative 3 squared minus 1, and that just means 9 minus 5. I mean, minus 1, sorry, minus 5. I just realized I said it wrong. Which will be square root of 4, which will result 2 as my answer. Okay, sorry, again, my phone buzz. Quite popular, quite popular. Okay, number 17. Same procedure. Go ahead and try. Pause the video for a minute. Okay, so like I said, the same procedures as we learned before, except this one doesn't have a value, so I'm going to do outside in. If you don't remember how to write this, no problem. Let's rewrite this. Outside in, don't have a value. So I'm going to write f of x first, which is negative 9x plus 3. Now every single time I see x, I'm going to replace with, that's right, g of x, which is right here. Okay, so I essentially have f of x to the 4th power. So negative 9x to the 4th power plus 3. So all I did is simple distribution of the negative 9. Okay, that's all I did. Okay, now let's go to 18. Almost done with this worksheet. So quite fast, quite easy. Straightforward concept, but obviously if you have any questions or comment, please let me know. Okay, Now this one is again function within the function, so outside in. So I'm gonna just write it in one step, see if you guys can do the same thing. So train yourself to do it in one step to make your life a little bit easier, so less complicated. So like this. Okay, now I'm going to distribute the 2. So 2x plus 4 minus 5, which the final result will be 2x minus 1. That's 18. Now let's go to 19. Oops, didn't slide it quite right. So this one is also a function within a function. So let's rewrite it if you want to, but also get used to this. SAT will have some kind of function like this. Obviously, they are trying to test you multiple things, so the function might be a little bit more complex, but that does not mean the function is harder. Okay, complexity doesn't mean it's difficult. Okay, now writing it in one step. Okay, just highlighting it for you guys what I did. Okay, now I'm going to do in square. So x minus 3 squared plus 7. Remember the formula? That's right. X squared minus 2ac, which will get 6x plus 9 plus 7. So I dropped the parenthesis right away, but you can keep that parenthesis if you want to, and then drop it in the next step. So the final answer will still just be a combination of 9 and 7, which will be 16. So that will be my answer. Okay, let's move on to the last 2 questions. Ooh, almost there. Almost there. When you're having fun with function, obviously time flies. Okay, now this one again, writing in one step, just trying to see more efficient way of writing it. Okay, now I'm going to substitute x with 4x plus 3. So I have that. Again, this is a plus b situation. So a squared 16x squared plus 2ab, which will be 4 times 3 times 2, which will be, that's right, 24x. And then finally b squared, which will be just 9. So that will be my answer. Notice when we memorize certain formula, or if you want to derive it, it's fine. The process becomes much easier just by simply memorizing what to do. Okay, and it's also easy to see the pattern to recognize pattern, and especially later on in pre-calculus and calculus, this is a quite handy tool to recognize multiple different patterns. Now again, I'm going to write it in one step, like so. Okay, now I'm going to substitute inside the function, so every single time I see xi, that's right, substitute x minus 1, which is right there. So I have x minus 1 squared plus 2 times x minus 1 minus 8. So the first one is a minus b situation, so I'm going to put it in parentheses to keep things organized. Oops, plus 1. And then this one I just need to simply distribute the 2. Plus 2x minus 2 minus 8. So notice I took out the parentheses in the second part because I do want to combine the number in the back. For those of you who are okay with dropping the parentheses altogether, that is perfectly okay as well. Just keep in mind if there's a negative, you have to change sign. So my final answer will be quite simple. So the x squared will be by itself. The positive and negative 2x will cancel each other out. And then finally, let me change another one. So let's do orange. All the numbers will combine together. So finally, I have answer of minus 9, and that will be my answer. So again, thank you for watching. This is composite function or composite function worksheet. So yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave me a message. I'm going to give you guys a quick screenshot through the whole worksheet just so you know what to do and what we did. Oh, sorry. Okay, and that's it. See you next time.